FCManager game guide. In this video, I'll be teaching you how to manage your players. Let's start with acquiring new ones. First up are player cards. You can find these in the shops or get them as rewards for missions. Just double click like so and you'll have new players in your list. Just amble over to the item shop if you're looking for fresh blood and pick out a card you like. The other way of getting new players is through the Trade Center tab. Now, unlike the item shop, the trade shop has more straightforward factors you can consider, like being able to choose the players for their position, stats and potential, though the quality differs according to the different categories, and there are 3 to choose from. First is the tryout tab. These are the youth players with unknown potential. Now, though these youth are priced very low, they do need a lot of training before they can be really useful, though it is said that youth players are easier to train. And the second tab is the FA market. The FA market is full of senior players with impressively high stats, starting from 7 stars to 8 potential. Now, you'll have to bet against other players to get them. And lastly, there's the draft tab. Now, these are the youth players whose stats and potentials are shown. The players found in this tab can only be obtained through auction, and sometimes even outprice the ones in the FA market. Training helps increase the player's stats by increasing a stat parameter with experience. Now, there are 3 different types of training menus. First, we have the stat training. This focuses on the particular player's stat. Just like leveling up a stat through matches, you can select a particular stat, such as offensive, skill, strength, physical stats, and mental stats. Goalkeepers do have their own training. Next is ability training. On the other hand, this is meant for, of course, ability. Positional training values can be boosted through ability training as well. And lastly, we have the youth training, which is exclusively for youth under 20 years of age and players level 4 and below. It has specialized menu depending on the positions. And here's a tip. Unlike senior players, youth players ages 20 and below have a higher rate of improvement through training. And remember that you can strengthen your existing players through the Reinforce tab under Team Management. And there are 2 types of strengthening. First is player combination. In combination, you can take up to 5 cards and merge them together to create one new, stronger player. And the second is player strengthening. Unlike combination, player strengthening is more specific, and it needs 2 of the same cards to work. Since it's entirely possible to have 2 cards of the same player with differing stats and potential, player strengthening uses 1 card to augment the second. Now that you have a lot of players in your team, let me just give you a brief explanation about re-signing and release. Let's start with the release. Releasing players, as the name suggests, means making the players leave your team and getting the experience in exchange. Now, you can view the accumulated EXP in the homepage under Growth EXP. Re-sign, on the other hand, would be renewing the contract with the player. This means extending their contract with your team and increasing the number of days until they expire. Morale is the player's overall, morale in the game. Now, morale changes according to the system every single day. Just like in real life, it affects how the players will perform in a match. Morale is the arrow underneath the player card's position tag. Now, there are different ones, but the sign of high morale is an arrow pointing up. The lowest would be an arrow pointing down. Now, the player's performance and stats will be reduced the more the arrow goes down. One way of improving morale is by using an increased morale card, which you can buy in the shop. Re-signing an athlete does bump up the morale arrow by 1. Alright everyone, did you get that? That's all for now with FCM's Player Management.